Hi, thanks everybody again for joining us for another West Kerno Sounds interview podcast. This time I'm with Jason from a band called the Supermoons. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, Craig. Yeah, really good. Considering,
Brilliant.
feeling positive. Things are moving forward at last.
Yes, yeah. Whereabouts are you based?
Based most of the band is towards the western side of Edinburgh, around South Queensferry, Kirkliston, and that sort of area. We have western side.
Okay, superb. So for yourself personally then, how did what's your history of music? Where did it all start for you?
I sort of was involved in music from childhood. Really, I played sort of brass instruments at primary school, and then sort of more through and got into sort of bass brass instruments like tuba, trombone, and that sort of thing in high school. Then went to university and stopped it all, and then after a while, um, just kind of decided with a couple of mates to start a band really back in
Mm.
Australia. So I'm the bass player in the Supermoons and was involved in a couple of dodgy bands in Australia. And yeah, just probably nearly 4 years ago now, a couple of the other guys in the band were sort of mates, and it just sort of evolved out of a bit of a pub chat, really.
Mm.
Oh yeah, so David Wilson, one of our guys, has played some solo sort of acoustic stuff at the festival and that sort of thing, and yeah, we just kind of got chatting, and he kind of went, oh, why don't we just grab a practice room and have a bit of a jam? And I kind of went, oh yeah, I used to play bass. Oh, did you? Right, okay. So got together in the studio, and it just, I guess what it refreshed for me personally was it just brought it all back. I thought, what?
Mm.
I sold all my bass gear when I left Australia sort of 15 years ago, and just went, what the hell have I been doing? This is just such amazing fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, about 12 months later, we released a 5-track EP, One Small Step, that was released, and yeah, we just after that, I guess, steadily working away, gigging, trying to improve, obviously,
Mm.
our music and as a live act, and then sort of we're just about to release our our debut full length album now, actually.
Mm.
So it's been a really, really fun journey.
Superb. Absolutely superb. So what would you say that for a band the musical influences are then?
Ooh, wow, I mean, there's a pretty broad sort of spectrum. I guess, Jeff is predominantly kind of a mod, so he has his influences in that sort of style of music. Dav, and myself probably a bit more into stoner rock, Brian Jonestown Massacre,
Mm.
BRMC kind of stuff. I guess there's, I mean, obviously more than that, but there's some of the influences you might see coming through in our music. But yeah, Dava also quite a lot of folky style of music. He's into that quite a lot. Um, and yeah, and James, our guitarist, is probably, his influences in his lead playing is probably more around sort of 60s, even 50s and
Mm.
60s kind
Mm.
of lead style. So yeah, it's a real kind of mishmash, and
Wow.
a difficult question to answer. I think.
Right. Do you
When
bring
I
all
think about
those?
our music,
Do you bring all those influences into the sound you've got now? So like your folk and that sort of stuff, or have
yeah,
you
well, I
got?
guess so. Yeah, I mean, some of the songs, definitely have particularly Dava's songs have a real storytelling kind of a feel to them. He likes to write about feelings and people's experiences and things like that. Jeff's a little bit different. I mean, it's more, it's the same. He's definitely writing about something, but it's not in the same sort of style, I guess.
Mm.
So
Mm.
Jeff and Dava are the primary sort of songwriters in the group.
Okay. So what's the creative process like? So, how from start to finish, roughly a new song for you. Where's it come from, and what happens?
It generally is born out of a massive drinking session in someone's backyard shed,
Brilliant.
and it will then come, out of probably two or three of us, into a rehearsal studio and kind of go, oh, these are the chords, this is kind of the general, this is what the song's about. And then yeah, sort of add bass line and try and develop a rhythm around that to see whether it's going to cut it as a song or not. Because, sometimes things sound really great in a shed when you're
Yeah.
barely able to stand after loads of whiskey. It sounds really good at the time. And then when you come to put it all together, it's, yeah, maybe not this one kind of thing. But it's, and most of them, to be fair, have made it through that process, gone on the first go, if you like. A couple have been left behind, and some have been kind of left on the shelf for a while, and we'll write another 2 or 3 songs, and then kind of go, oh, well, someone will just start jamming one that we haven't played for a while, and then, oh yeah, hang on a minute, and then I'll put a different bass line to it, or there'll be a different rhythm or drums behind, and go, oh, hang on a minute, this kind of feels like it works. So, but it's typically the words and the structure around the words that then we bring into the studio, then put some music behind it, and then I guess bring the musical structure to the song. And it's over the last sort of year and a half, as it started off feeling like quite a big challenge to actually get these ideas in there, rehearse, develop the songs. But I guess we were lucky we had a few in kind of the process beforehand. So then when we were able to start kind of rehearsing towards the back end of last year in the summer, through until Christmas, we were able to get quite a bit recorded, thankfully, and mixed and stuff. So yeah, I guess our fear was that we weren't going to be able to do anything for a long time. But now, looking back from where we are now, I think we actually achieved a lot more than we probably expected in the last 18 months.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask about the lockdown. I ask a lot of bands and artists, how did it affect them? Some say they were completely annihilated by it. They couldn't even think straight. And some bands said it was the most productive they've ever been, songwriting and, collaborating online. So you found it was a productive time then?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, personally as well, I saw it as an opportunity to, because I tend to travel a lot with work, so I'm not the most reliable sort of guy during the week, and I struggle with practice and that sort of stuff. So I saw it as a great opportunity to practice more and become a technically better bass player, which I think I have achieved to some degree. But I guess without playing together, and because the lockdown affects people in completely different ways, it's not, one person sees it as a really great opportunity to develop your songwriting process. Another person's just like, hang on a minute, like I'm at home, I'm homeschooling 3 kids, and all of this stuff's happening, and I just cannot get my head around it. So it's been challenging for different people. But I guess we kind of, we didn't really have a set plan. I guess Jeff is generally the driving force behind, okay, this is probably good enough, let's record. And I'm like, oh no, this is nowhere near ready to record. But if it wasn't for Jeff kind of pushing, I would probably never record anything, and we wouldn't have an album to release. And so I think as a unit we work quite well that way. We challenge and push each other, and generally end up with something that we're quite happy with.
Right, brilliant. So you mentioned an album release. Is that a debut, or you said?
Yeah, it's our first LP. We received them just yesterday. So
nice.
This is our little baby here. Real Life Heroes, it's called, by the Supermoons. 11 tracks, just under an hour. And yeah, well, look, I'm really, really happy with the way it's turned out. We recorded and mixed most of it at Substation with Michael Brennan, just over in Rosyth. That's where we recorded our EP as well. And he's just fantastic to work with. He's really challenging and brings so much sort of creativity to the sound as well. And we managed to get some brass on there. And so I pulled out my old trumpet that I've had since I was, 10. So it was a whole load of fun. Yeah, sort of, you get the bare track laid down, and what we're used to hearing in the studio, in rehearsals, and then kind of going, what do you hear in the background there? Is there some percussion or something out of the background, or a bit of brass and this sort of thing? So a challenge to replicate it exactly live, but as we can't yet afford a complete backing band to go, but no, we're really, really happy with the outcome. It's
Fair play.
great.
Fair play. And where can people get hold of it then?
Right, so it's been released through an Edinburgh record label called Infinite Hive. So we've been with Big John and Infinite Hive since the start, really. So if you look him up on Facebook, or if you Google him as well, we can buy it through Infinite Hive. So we're taking pre-sales now, actually, if you go through Infinite Hive, and there's some deals on there where you can get a CD and a t-shirt and stuff like that, some bundles. And on August the 20th, it will be released for general sale through Bandcamp and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Okay.
And then I think it will be released then on streaming sites from early September, I think September the 2nd or something like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, but and then we start with a run of gigs after that. We're very busy trying to secure venues and that sort of thing for gigging around the place, yeah, so we're really, really looking forward to playing it live.
Yes, yeah. Are you only thinking of gigging around the area you're in, or are you going to come south?
Well, yeah, hopefully. We were just starting to arrange and stretch our legs and stretch our range a little bit more, I guess, before lockdown. So that kind of curtailed our plans in 2020. But yeah, for sure. I think at the moment we don't have anything planned because everything's just still quite so tenuous. Even the gigs we have planned here in Scotland are a bit, we kind of hope they're going to happen, but no one's really that confident about it, kind of thing. So we've got a local gig here on the 27th of August for the Kirkliston Gala. I think they're having something at Connie Fox, downscaled sort of gala day. And the Belhaven Brewery is running a series of gigs down in Dunbar. So we're playing there on September the 10th, and then we have a gig planned on the 11th at the Leith Depot in Edinburgh. Then we have another gig in Edinburgh, I think at Sneaky Pete's in 28th of October. And then our what's become a traditional Black Friday gig on December, the last Friday before Christmas, at the Wee Red Bar at the Art College in Edinburgh here as well. So, which is a great.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
So we're also looking to hook up with other bands. So I guess, in terms of playing down south, if there are other bands out there that kind of hear our music and kind of think that we might fit playing with others, we'd be more than happy to travel south and fill a couple support slots or whatever, and on a quid pro quo basis up here as well. So, I think that's what you need to do to get out there and get your music heard. So we're happy to support others as well.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, what's the best bit of musical advice you've been given?
Musical advice. I don't know. It's probably don't overthink it. It's as opposed to don't disappear up your own ass as well. That one. We don't suffer from that, thankfully. I think there's a risk that you try and overthink things and try and make things too perfect when actually, because a lot of the times, I don't know, this sounds a bit up my own ass too, but sometimes you hear yourself listening to commercial radio and you're thinking, why aren't they playing my songs? Our songs, our music's better than that crap. How is it? How is that possible? So, you got to stay grounded. You got to just keep on pushing, keep trying, and don't overthink it. Yeah, get out there. The more you play, the better you get.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, fair play. Okay, final question for you now, mate. Everybody gets this one. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for you being here musically now?
Well, personally, I'd like to thank my bandmates. I mean, if it wasn't for that sort of pub session 3 or 4 years ago, and everyone kind of just feeling like they wanted to get on with it, it's great. I mean, this piece of music that we produced is really, really great. It's really great, and we should be, we are really proud of it. And I guess that's what I'm grateful for, the guys in the band, that we push forward, and of course our families who let us indulge in, what is kind of a hobby, but hopefully becomes more than that. So we, yeah. And the guys who've supported us along the way, like Big John at Infinite Hive, and also Michael across at Substation. We've learned a lot from him during the recording process. So I think, yeah, they're the key people behind what we're doing.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Jason, look, thanks so much for giving me the time and the interview. And if you ever, because I'm right down in Cornwall, so if you ever get down this way, give me a shout, and love to come and see you.
Yeah, we might have to meet in the middle somewhere. Craig.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, you take care, mate.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Craig.
All right, see you later. Cheers.
Bye-bye.